Thank you very much. Naim.
Thank you, and thank all speakers. I'd also like to specifically thank Deputy Kearns for asking that question about the commitments and resourcing. I just wanted to add to what my colleagues have said, to just kind of highlight certain aspects that how, because we tend to work in silos and our state bodies tend to work in silos, where we have this very piecemeal ad hoc kind of so it's great to see more consultation happening, but it needs to be kind of better thought out and knit together. So, for example, recently Disabled Women Ireland were asked to submit to Grevio on Ireland's implementation of the Istanbul Convention. As other witnesses have highlighted, that was very difficult. We were very, very constrained in the complete lack of data available in Ireland. The fact that the little data available in Ireland is not comparable internationally because we're not following international best practices. Race, ethnicity, sexuality are known to be huge risk factors and contributing factors in sexual violence, but we don't collect that, and disability. We don't really collect on disability. So those were all things. But at the same time as we were doing that, we were also submitting to the Committee on the Rights of the Child. And that is the period that the CSO held their public consultation in. So we and many other DPOs were not able to submit to that consultation. So it's just, this isn't to criticise anyone, but it's just that there is not yet an understanding of the work and role of DPOs and in this multifaceted identity of disabled people. There's also been several times in the past where public consultations on specifically disability-related schemes or or legislation have occurred at the same time without checking to see what commitments would that put on DPO resources, and can this be better timed? So I like to say that the foundation of accessibility is flexibility. And so I know that there will be restrictions on how consultations can be carried out. It can't be completely, but I think we need to kind of reframe and be ambitious and look at a more ongoing forum for consultation rather than these 2-week periods, 3-week periods. And if you're not able to submit in that time frame, your views go unheard. We need to have a better mechanism for consulting on those issues, and it can be done. We are able to do this. We're very inventive people, the Irish. And one other thing I just wanted to, referring to Deputy Tully's, this isn't actually an attempt to flatter. But to give an example of good practice that I've seen in public consultation, was actually this committee when it was convened, and it called for public submissions, and we were supporting a number of individuals to make their own submissions to it who wished to, and there were accessibility barriers in how the consultation was set up and worded originally, and when that was raised to the clerk of the committee, that was resolved within 24 hours. So that's what we need. We need there to be that adaptability, that listening and saying, can we change, instead of saying, no, this is what we've written here, and we'll look into making the change the next time we review this in 5 years, 10 years or whatever. So I just wanted to highlight that was a very good example, and I would love to see more of that. It's not that we expect everything to be exactly right for every person first go round. But if that is the reality, what we need is that adaptability of going, yes, we didn't think of this, we can change it. Yeah.
Thank you. Sinead.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to Iris for answering Deputy Kearns' questions, and thank you, Deputy Kearns, for the range of questions you put forward. I just want to build on a couple of them in addition to what Iris has contributed. Firstly, in terms of the role of IHREC as the independent monitoring mechanism, as Iris said, we haven't done that formal assessment of compliance at this stage, and I would remind committee members, of course, that until the optional protocol is ratified, that designation does not become formal for us. We have a number of different monitoring designations in the areas of human trafficking, for example. We have an incoming one on the Convention on the Prevention of Torture. So we do our best to operate as the independent monitoring mechanism. For example, we have a disability advisory committee in place, and we, in the ways that Iris has listed already, engage with many different other state actors and in any form we can, operating essentially as that independent monitoring mechanism. But it is crucial, and I just use this opportunity to once again urge you all to really push for that optional protocol to be ratified, because all of these mechanisms are dependent on that ratification. And then I just wanted to touch on your final question, which is around that kind of connection between data and violation of rights, but really just to bring it out into a conceptual answer, if I may, which is to say that human rights are for everyone. So no matter where the area where the lack of data might either contribute or fully prevent the realisation of that rights for disability, means that we don't have, for people with disabilities, it means that we cannot say we have that right. So for example, if the lack of data partly or wholly contributes to somebody with that disability not being able to access the appropriate education that they wish for, then that means that we cannot say that we have in Ireland a human right to education that is realisable. And I think it's important to think about it in that way, because I think that might help you as legislators to understand why the rights-based model is so important. We have to think about those amongst us with disabilities as being able to enjoy the same human rights that we all do, and that will direct us in designing policy and legislation in the right way. So I think that the concept of human rights being for everybody is just so helpful in framing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'll go to